was 2004. I was fresh in field work with a child psych background, still wearing the white hat in my head. The call was a rural foster home on the edge of town, Mapleview House, run by the Denvers. A babysitter had vanished. We'd had minor calls from that address before. Kids sneaking out, a broken fence, a neighbor hearing shouting, but this one felt different. 6 foster kids, ages 7 to 14. The Denvers had left for a family emergency and hired 2 sitters to cover the weekend. The first, Tessa Moran, arrived Thursday to hold the fort till Sunday, when the second sitter, Leah, would take over. Sunday morning, Leah pulled up to find Tessa's little hatchback in the drive, doors locked, keys not in the bowl. 6 kids buzzing on snack food and orange soda. No adults since late Friday. We were called in. By the time I arrived, patrol cars dotted the lane. Inside was the kind of mess only children can make. Sticky controllers, a sagging trampoline out back, a deflated paddling pool waiting to be stored, a grim grill beside a white plastic table crusted with ash, a tilted bottle of lighter fluid sweating in the heat. Then I heard it, soft dots tapping glass, not rain. In the boys' room, a lace of pale silkworm clusters clung to the window seal like beadwork. Officer Lang eased the curtain back and grimaced. "Found them in every room," he said. "Not local." "Luggage?" "A school project gone rogue," I offered. "Or," he said, "they like it here." Strange, but not evidence. I started interviews with the Denvers in the next room. Keep it gentle. Talk about school, shows, games, build trust. Lila, 9, could barely contain herself. Friends, plans, a list of things she'd be when she's big. The girls had made friendship bracelets with Tessa on Friday afternoon. Pink thread, purple beads, a little silver charm. They showed me their wrists. "Tessa taught us the knot that doesn't come undone," Lila said, voice proud and small at once. The youngest boy, Ben, was quiet until a few cookies softened the edge. "I think Eli did it," he whispered. "Eli who?" "The Silkmaker," he said, then flinched and corrected himself. "Eli Crane. I read Eli's file before sitting with him. Found wandering a highway shoulder at 6, barefoot, silent, clutching a shoelace and a clotted bundle of pale thread. Biological parents vanished. Names changed. Eli wasn't his birth name. A caseworker wrote it on the intake. In school he didn't speak, but he watched. He could read and write, level uncertain. He drew constantly, trees, wires, seams. Some said spectrum, his reactions didn't map. Loud didn't startle him, pain didn't register, he simply noticed. I brought paper and crayons. If he wouldn't talk, he might draw. His foster father smoked on the porch. Eli sat across from me, hands folded, eyes empty and steady. He rubbed his arms once. "Cold?" I asked. He nodded. I gave him my jacket. No smile, but he settled. When I nudged the paper, he chose red and black. "Eli," I said, "I want to talk about Tessa. Do you know where she went?" He looked from paper to me, then drew a cup with a straw. "Thirsty?" He nodded. I brought lemonade. He sipped and held my gaze, unblinking. "When did you last see her?" He printed, "very happy." "She was happy?" I asked. He shook his head and tapped his chest. "You were happy," he added, weaving. "What happened then?" He wrote, "went home." It didn't fit, but I wrote it down anyway. That night, back at my flat, I tossed my jacket on the bathroom floor and felt the prickle, heat tipping to sting. When I shook the lining, pale silk pellets and chewed paper balls spilled out, hundreds, writhing with tiny white bodies. He'd planted them. I burned the jacket in the sink, then outside. Even so, as I tried to sleep, I heard the whisper of thread in the vent and the dry tick of something tapping glass. The investigation stuttered. A gas station sighting of Tessa proved false. Leah, the second sitter, ping-ponged between guilt and praise when we questioned her. "She's saving for a place of her own," she kept saying. "Nursing school." "She's careful. She wouldn't just leave." The girls wore their bracelets when they spoke, thumbs stroking the knots Tessa had tied. The Denvers were exhausted. "It isn't dirt," Mrs. Denver said. "They wash. But every morning there's more. Thread. In the drains. In drawers." Her husband's jaw worked. "He hides them in the walls. I've seen him." Late evening, my office phone rang, breath on the line, paper crackling. "Eli?" I asked. 2 soft taps. "Yes." "Are you okay? Do you need help?" 2 taps. "Do you want me to come?" 2 taps. I went with Officers Lang and Porter trailing. Eli waited out front with a backpack, the Denvers pale behind him. He lifted a page. Walk. We cut through back paths only a kid would stitch together, over pickets, between hedges, until we reached a tidy 2-story with no cars in the drive. Eli scribbled, "Check pool," underlined, and pointed. Backyard, deck, folded sun chairs, a gazebo staring at a drained pool under a faded blue tarp. I pulled the cover back. The smell hit, a hot, sweet wall, burnt hair and syrup. Something black and warped lay at the deep end. For a heartbeat, I thought mannequin. Then fingers, curled, teeth, fused. The char was complete, but under the char, laces. "What is this?" I choked. "How did you—" He lifted a page. Tessa, weaving. "Lang, Porter." They came, stopped, reeled. A low drone seemed to pulse from the tiles. Along the basin, a living skin of silkworms rippled through scorched cloth and hair and concrete cracks. I hauled Eli back. He didn't resist. He watched. "Did you do this?" Lang asked, voice gone thin. Eli blinked. Then, for the first time, he spoke, dry, papery, like velvet rubbed the wrong way. "Weaving. Her name was Tessa Moran, and I need you to understand she wasn't a cautionary prop. She was 20, saving for school, teaching girls to braid thread so it wouldn't come loose. We confirmed her through dental after the medical examiner did what he could. Burns everywhere, but no clean source, no accelerant residue, no matches. The lab called the larvae a mutant textile strain, thriving where they shouldn't. They found egg sacs stitched into the lining of Tessa's apron, fine as lint, strong as tendon. The backyard belonged to a boy from school, the kind who'd flick lighters and shove smaller kids. Weeks earlier, he'd knocked Eli's books into a puddle. His family moved before fall semester ended. People talk about curses, I think of consequences. We pulled footage from a security camera facing the deck. The clip was rotten with sun glare, but clear where it mattered. Eli luring Tessa with a page, offering her a little necklace, a bright stone. Her hands clapped. She turned so he could clasp it. He swapped it for shoelaces. The choke was fast, practiced. She fought, stumbled, fell into the empty pool. He let go. The light bloomed. He watched. The girl's bracelets flashed once in the camera's glass, as if they'd been there to witness it too. I kept a single page he'd written for me, very happy, folded into a bag at the back of a drawer I later threw out. I don't know why. Maybe to remember to be angry. For nearly 2 years, pale thread found me. Drains, vents, cuffs, seams. I moved. It finally stopped. I thought that meant done. It didn't. 2012. I'd rebuilt. Therapy, promotion, a wife, a daughter who loved the bath and the sea. Then 3 inmates died under unusual circumstances. There'd been a recent transfer, not Silkmaker in the documents. Eli Crane, 18, 6'8", hair in ropey curtains, neck thick as a rubber mask. Deaths by strangulation, mouths packed with cocoons. An investigator, Dr. Mara Short, joined the case. Precise, skeptical, arguing psychiatric placement. "He was a child when the system swallowed him," she said. "If there's a path to treatment, we should take it." We checked in and slid our belongings into a plastic tray stamped with a faded sunflower. Surveillance loops showed Eli always orbiting conflict, sometimes shoved, sometimes shoving back. 26 incident reports in 8 months, isolation half the time. He slipped white pellets into food. He stared across the yard until someone twitched. And yet, he sat placidly with Mr. Keats, a 70-year-old lifer with a soft voice and sad smile. They played checkers, Swapped paperbacks. Keats showed me a little music box. Can't help falling in love. He likes the crank, Keats said. Feels good between the fingers. Outside the showers, a camera caught a shoulder brush. Eli's first punch. Head to brick, body folding. Eli wrote with his finger on the wall. Very happy. Then he packed the mouth with cocoons. Does he know I'm here? I asked Dr. Short. I think so. I pushed for an interview. The warden hated the idea. He threw Eli in solitary, green-striped block, no windows, chained to a bed. He let me in, locked the door. Hello, Eli. It's been a while. 2 taps on the cuff. Yes. He remembered Mapleview, the girls, Tessa. Did you kill yesterday's man for fun? 1 tap. No. Was he a threat? Number. Did someone ask you to? Silence. A hovering hand. Then, no. You wrote you were very happy. Was that for me? Something flickered behind the eyes. 2 taps. Yes. The hallway erupted, shouted orders, keys rattling somewhere else. Eli rolled one shoulder, then the other. A small metallic ping sounded behind him. The first notes of a music box, thin and sweet, dying fast. He'd hidden Keats's crank. He snapped it off and worked the locks, holding my gaze while each shackle yielded a click. By the time the alarm found its voice, he was free. He took my shoes, slid the laces out, braided them tight. You want to hurt me? I asked. 2 snaps. Yes. You're going to kill me? He flicked the tiny key aside, cigarette casual. 1 snap. Number. He could turn it to yes any second. He lifted me like luggage, set me on the bed, bit his thumb and painted a smiley on the wall in red. Waited. The lock turned. Inmates surged, thinking he was unarmed. They didn't see the laces. The first man hit the floor, neck looped, door kicked shut. Eli braced heel against frame and bed and strangled him fast. Clinical, practiced. A sharpened toothbrush took the second. The third bled out in 2 breaths. When the hall opened, he flowed with it, a shadow slipping through noise. He glanced back once and waved. They found Keats later in the pantry, throat cut, no cocoons in his mouth. That was the point. For months, Eli had built a signature. Break it once and suspicion fractures. Blame spreads like cracks in glass. 9 people died by nightfall, some to Eli, some to the chaos he threaded. I was stitched and debriefed. Dr. Short's hands shook as she sorted forms. He freed himself to protect you, she said. Witnesses say another inmate came at you. He stabbed me once, I said. Just enough to write the story you want. You're too close. Maybe. But I could feel lint-fine grit in the air. The silk that settles where you least expect. That night, my daughter woke fussing. I changed the crib sheet and caught a pale pellet on my palm. Soft, damp, barely hatched. I scrubbed the railings, stripped my shirt, shook the cuffs out over the sink. We keep thinking stories end when the villain is caged, when the house is sold, when you move flats. We draw a line, but threads don't end, they continue. They pull tight where you don't notice. Into seams, into vents, into the spaces you don't clean. I kept seeing Tessa's bracelets in my mind. 4 girls touching knots she'd taught them, believing a loop could keep them safe. We talked to her mother after the funeral. She asked about the apron. We didn't have the heart to explain the stitching. I wrote Tessa in my notebook and closed it. Dr. Short filed her recommendation. Transfer Eli to a psychiatric program, I argued. She smiled sadly and told me I'd done good work and that she appreciated my perspective. You can't rehab a vacancy, I said. He isn't missing a skill. He's missing a piece. Or he was never given it, she said. Sometimes I rehearse what I should have said. Sometimes I think of Tessa, of the girls turning their wrists to show me knots. Sometimes I see Eli's hand in mine that day at the pool, how naturally he reached, how perfectly he imitated a child. Assumptions, he wears them like clothes. I kept my daughter close. I learned the shapes of laces in the dark. I stopped keeping jackets. If I woke to the soft tick at the window, I stood and waited for the night to move again. If you're waiting for a clean ending, there isn't one. Dr. Short won her transfer. Eli would have new walls, new vents, new seams. Maybe he'd weave a softer story there. Maybe the program would help him learn words to hold the part he lacks. Maybe he'd find a way out. He always does. And when the night is windless, I still hear it, the scrape of thread in the duct, the faint tap on glass. I've changed homes, burned fabric, washed my hands until they chap. It doesn't matter. The threads find the walls find the boy. And somewhere between two taps, he is still very happy.